It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Delightful.
Ducky.
Yeah.
Yep.
Y'all took all the good ones.
You were supposed to come up with another D word, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, right.
There's a D word for you.
Hope everybody's doing okay out there. So, what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
I've got the same old. I've been really busy. We've got like 2 rooms of a 6-room house packed up into those other rooms, but yeah, it's been fun.
Full of pumpkin rolls now,
Right. No pumpkin rolls this year. don't remind them. I did get a chance to watch something really weird. I don't know what we're going to talk about tonight. It's called The Houses That... Let me see if I get this right. The Houses That October Built. At first, I kind of thought it was going to be like a documentary, like here's the haunted houses kind of thing, but it wasn't. It's more of like a Blair Witch kind of thing. All the actors are from Dallas. Most of the haunted houses that they were showing, I've been to. There are a lot of them around here in Dallas, all but the last one, but it was pretty cool. I don't want to say too much about it in case people want to watch it for Halloween. It does have its scary moments. If you go into the movie looking to pick it apart, you can, because you can tell it's done by, I won't say amateur filmmakers, but not, Sony or Disney or anything. But it was pretty interesting. If you go in it with a fun mind, some of the, like I said, the haunted houses were cool. Kind of a big wow, because those won't be open this year, I don't believe, So, yeah, but except some of them were pretty neat story.
Well, if they're not going to be open, then this might be a good way to get your fix.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I would assume they won't be open, because if they're not open by now, they won't be.
Yeah, you wouldn't think.
Yeah. And I know the big one up in where Scarborough Fair normally is,
Mm-hmm.
they announced when they closed down the fair this year that they wouldn't do the haunted houses either. So it's pretty much, we're gone for the year. But it was kind of crazy. It put you, once I figured out it wasn't what I was looking to watch, you kind of debate, do I turn it off now? But it has enough where it grabs you into it, enough of a story. And the way that it ends, it was kind of like, okay, what happened? But there is a part 2. So,
it's like Back to the Future, huh?
Right. I mean, if some of the things that happened to these people happened to me, there wouldn't be a part 2. I wouldn't go and do the same thing again. It would be like, forget that. You guys go have fun. Bring a gun this time. But it was kind of weird. It's like if Rob Zombie did it when he was 13. Enough of a ooh to it, but it's definitely not a big fancy production. So
Ain't nothing wrong with a little indie film.
no, exciting. And I don't know why, but the guy on there, he looks so familiar, and I can't find out who he is. I guess I should have watched the credits a little better, but it's not on Amazon, the page. The other guys are, but he's not. But it's like, we have that friend who makes films, so it's like, ask him if he knows this guy. I bet it's the same circles, same people.
Could
so, yeah.
And who's carrying it?
Amazon is.
Amazon, okay.
Yeah. From reading some of the comments, it only looks like it's around just for Halloween time. And
Okay.
so they do have the options to buy it too, but right now you can watch it free on Amazon.
Of course you can buy it.
Right. It's kind of one of those, I wouldn't mind watching it again around this time, but it's not one I'm going to go, ooh, let's watch Houses of, and it's houses that October built. I guess, haunted houses. You only build them in October, So, but yeah.
Well, thanks for the word. It'll be something I can put the wife in front of, and she'll go, ooh, the whole time.
Well, and it is cool because some of these haunted houses, since it's them recording, you do get to kind of see it in first perspective, So that was kind of neat. But some of them you're like, I've been there. They played this up for the movie.
This is way better than I remember. No.
Right. I wish they would have did that, Yeah. I used to like haunted houses before my anxiety got really, really bad. And a lot of that goes back to my theater days. It's cool to see them make props. But the one thing I cannot do is they usually try to make you walk between like two balloons, I guess it is, where you feel like you're suffocating. No. I will freak out and kill someone, so can't do those anymore.
Okay, guys, we need to cancel those balloons going to her house.
As long as they're not stifling.
Yeah, I just got the text that the truck is pulling up right now, so it's probably too late.
Oh.
Clown delivery, right?
Yeah, they're in they're in a smart car, and it's enough balloons to fill your whole house and both sheds.
Right. As long as they're filled two sheds. Yeah, pretty low key week. I like those weeks, so yay.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And I'll save my DC rant for later, because that's kind of...
Wait until we get to talking about comics again, you mean?
Right, well, they just keep putting more and more. It's like layered, so I guess a little bit more information before I go too far hard on it.
Okay. We'll look forward to that.
Although, in Discord...
Sorry.
Segue.
In Discord, I did post an interesting thing, or I thought it was pretty interesting. Mandalorian technology, which of course is industrial light and magic, or do I have that backwards?
No, you're right.
Magic and light. Anyways, they're helping out with the new Batman film. I thought that's pretty cool that, before it was like their little pet projects that he worked on and that kind of thing, but to be branching out. And then the more you got to thinking about it, and it's like, is this going to be our new normal? With things the way that they are, filming on locations have gotten a whole lot harder, And if someone wouldn't have told me that the set wasn't at least somewhat kind of prop, I wouldn't have believed it. It's integrated so well. It looks so well. We've come a long way in that department. So to see that kind of technology in Batman, it's kind of exciting. The more they talk about it, the more excited I get about it. And then they're like, oh no, there's drama on the set. And you're like, no, just make the movie. Suck it up. Make the movie. And then you guys can do your little cat bite, bat bite, whatever.
Right. See, I kind of wish they wouldn't announce stuff like that beforehand, because now there's just going to be the random jerks who are watching the movie to look for the glaring flaws, to try to find all of that stuff, trying to find the seams where it all lies, and I mean that's just annoying. I'd almost rather just be surprised and go, oh man, that looks really good.
Find out later.
And find out later, oh yeah, well that's because it was touched up. Okay, well that's fine, but I don't want to go into it looking for it, you know.
Yeah. But kind of like I was saying with the Mandalorian, I wouldn't have figured that to have been a wall. I mean, that's what they call this, is the wall. I mean, really, it doesn't look rendered, so it's almost like they're daring them, try to find it. Try to find where we did it. With us mixing, being a mixed medium, I guess you could say, with using both, the wall and props, and stuff. It's kind of like, I don't know if you would be able to tell where it was. Like I said, I couldn't, and not like they do or anything. I kind of dabble in that kind of stuff to kind of look out for it, and I couldn't spot it. Not, like I said, disclaimer, I'm not no pro or a badass or anything, so yeah.
Yeah, well, you'll never find our wall, that's for sure.
So let's hope it's good.
Well, you talk about the special effects and all of that that you posted in that article in our Discord. I had posted one earlier in the week, and it was regarding Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola version. I was talking about this, how the special effects, how incredible they were, that they used quote unquote old school movie magic for some of the special effects there, and how it doesn't really date the film, and it doesn't, because it actually still holds up real well,
right?
For a film that's 30 years old, it still looks great. It gives it a different kind of visual look to it. So
yeah.
That's a little bit of a tangent, but you talk about the.
I know what you were saying though. I like, I guess you can call those footprints, when you can actually look back and go, if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have this, And especially, I think what we do on the show, talking about older shows and things, we can go in with the mindset of, look where this came from, the footprint that it was, instead of, oh, this is bad. And that sounds like metal wrestling, it was cheesy then, but we can understand why it wasn't the wall. Yeah.
Okay, how about you, Mikey?
Oh gosh. I listen to a lot of podcasts. A lot of podcasts. There's some interesting stuff they're talking about this year, let me tell you. Obviously, some of the old standards have been. I've listened to a couple of different shows about Friday the 13th already. I've listened to a couple of different shows about Nightmare on Elm Street, including some really fun deep dive analytical stuff. Even, and Tom, you'll love this, even got to listen to a podcast reviewing the new Halloween movie that's not coming out this year.
Okay.
That was fun. Oh, they were like, we had originally planned we were going to do this, and then they postponed the movie, and we kind of didn't know what to do, so we figured, screw it, we'll make up our own. And so they went on for an hour. They had guests on and everything, and they just went on for an hour having fun with it.
Wow.
Just having a good time.
Nice.
Yeah,
There you
it was a lot of fun. But yeah, so lots and lots of cool, scary stuff. And where can you find this stuff, you might ask? Wait, no, I don't.
I do.
Where was that again?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Tell me.
We haven't talked about that at all, have we? Right. So hop on Twitter and search for #AllTheHorror, or better still, go to @AllTheHorror18 and hit that follow button, because new stuff every day for the whole month of October, and we're getting we're getting late enough in the month that there's actually bonus stuff every day, almost every day too. So maybe there's one podcast today, maybe there's two, maybe there's something else on the website, maybe a story, maybe some new art. You just have to kind of go check it out to find out. And we've got all kinds of cool stuff, lots of collaborations between bunch of different podcasts, which is a lot of fun. And there's also the merch page that you should check out, because all of the merch stuff, one, the art's really awesome, and two, all the proceeds from the merch goes to the Scares That Care charity. Say that 5 times real fast.
5 times real fast.
Oh, dang. No, you left off that. I said say that
Yeah.
5 times real fast.
Well, he couldn't.
And don't call me Shirley. But yeah, lots and lots of cool stuff. Losing sleep, keeping up, but that's okay. I'm actually losing sleep anyway, but that's a different problem. But it's helping me keep up.
Well, for me, I finished my annual reads of The Halloween Tree and Something Wicked This Way Comes. Still enjoying them both. I just find them fascinating stories by Bradbury. And I almost look forward to Halloween for that purpose. Of course, we have our broadcasts, but this is also something I get so wrapped up in. So I recommend both titles just to take in.
Now, at the risk of beating a dead horse, one of the episodes from All the Horror earlier in the month was a discussion of Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Oh, really? Okay. Sounds like I need to track that one.
I'll see if I can get you a link on that.
Okay, thank you.
Because
you know how...
The story or the movie?
They kind of talked about both.
Both?
Yeah, it was kind of a compare thing.
I have not read the story, but I enjoyed the movie. I hadn't seen it in forever, but I remember watching it and being just mesmerized by it.
As was I.
I think that film was my introduction to Jonathan Pryce all those years ago. It was Jonathan Pryce, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's about it. Of course, I took in our discussion this week and got through it somehow.
Better than me.
Oh, we'll get there. I've been looking forward to this week, but we'll get there.
For me, I've been doing a lot of fellowship-related stuff. There has been one thing. I know I've talked a lot about this the last few weeks about me kind of checking things out on Vaughn.tv. There was one channel. I mean, a lot of these a lot of these channels, they show like a combination of different shows. And for this past week, I was watching one who was doing in order Monty Python.
Ooh.
And then another one, and y'all are probably some of y'all may be kind of be shocked or kind of surprised. It was a show that I was aware of. I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never really actually sat down and watched an entire episode until it was on. I was like, okay, you know what? Let me check it out and actually start watching a bunch of these. The Addams Family.
Da-da-da-da.
Mm-hmm. And it was
I heard that.
it was a fun show. I don't know why back in the day I didn't actually sit there and watch the entire 30 minutes program, but I just didn't. But it was fun kind of watching it. The thing.
Thing?
And there was the
Thing? The
yeah
thing?
The
thing.
thing was in there. Yep.
Sorry.
Well, that's it.
The one episode that kind of really opened my eyes, and I don't remember what it was called, but it was the episode where Lurch's mom was coming for a visit. Y'all remember this one? So
Yeah.
what they did was they Gomez and Morticia were trying to kind of teach him how to be Gomez. He's the head of the house. He's the millionaire and all that, and they were going to be his servants. Ted Cassidy was an amazing actor.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
a
he was.
fun episode just to watch him. Because I mean, for most of the time it's just him kind of reacting and.
Right, the deadpan thing, yeah.
It was
He
all
did that
yeah.
real well, too, but yeah.
Yeah, he did. But just he did so much more in this episode. I was like, damn, okay. I appreciate him more. So it was kind of a fun experience.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, see, I think when we were kids around here, I don't think we had as much access to Addams Family as we did to like the Munsters. The Munsters was on every damn day, like for my entire childhood.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you didn't catch the Addams Family nearly as often. So I think I've seen some of them, but I haven't seen very many.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like here there was more of a preference for the Munsters than it was Addams Family, and that may play a part into it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I wish I knew
Yeah.
why, but
Um,
I mean,
my
it was a good
God,
show
it was-
too. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, both of them.
Where
were good
I
shows.
was, it came on like back to back.
Yeah, they never did that here for some reason.
Yeah, and you would
Or
think
if they
that would
did,
be
it was like the Addams Family was first, and it was before we got home from school or something. I don't know what
Yeah.
the deal was, but yeah, if they didn't do that as often. Weird.
Where I was, they were a weekly show.
Hmm.
So you just waited the following week to see the next episode.
Yeah, he's pulling his whole first run
Right.
thing
I say
again.
for me it was a daily thing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
actually
we were
cool.
watching them in reruns, so
Mhm.
Yeah.
unlike some people.
Wow.
I when I was growing up, I preferred black and white TV to the color stuff. So to me, it was funnier.
Hell, for a while, all we had was a black and white TV.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably 1980 before we got a color TV.
We always had the best because my dad, that's what he did, was TVs and electronics. So
Yeah.
we had the choice of 4 channels instead of 2.
Ooh.
But yeah,
La-di-da.
Exactly.
Did you have to hold your pinkies up when you were watching, too? Just like you
No,
did the
I had
teacup?
3 sisters, so they did.
They held you up by your pinkies while you were watching?
Right.
I think that's a different thing, but okay. Explains a few things, you know.
But me and my grandmother shared a room, so it was just easier. We always just watched black and white TV, you know. Yeah, not to go completely off tangent here.
Too late.
Things when I was younger was like you can't do that on television and that kind of stuff. And it was, although that was funny, and yeah, it was cool to watch it every once in a while at a friend's house. It was kind of like, that's stupid. What's funny about slime, you know? So Lucy was funny, and you knew why it was. She didn't have to pull out slime, you know.
It wasn't the slime itself that was funny. It was the way they used to trick each other into saying the phrase.
Yeah. True.
But anyway, here I am defending you can't do that on television. Hell, I was at the very end of that run.
Well, heck, wasn't Ryan Gosling and Alanis Morissette on there? So, I mean, it did have some good things come out of it. But
Alanis
I think
Morissette was
Alanis
on at
was
the last season. I don't know about Ryan Gosling. That's the first I've heard of that. But
maybe
I
it was
think she
Mickey
was on
Mouse
a couple
Club.
episodes. I don't know
maybe
about
it was
that.
Mickey Mouse Club.
I think it was Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, you can't do that on television. It was kind of the Mickey Mouse Club of Canada.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
funny thing is, we didn't know that at the time. Or I didn't, anyway. I had no idea it was Canadian.
Yeah.
Didn't care. Still liked it.
Yeah.
Well, and
It was all right, you know.
and you didn't know that because it was all geared toward the American audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, in all reality, it's not that different, an audience.
Well,
I mean, when you're on that level, when you're aiming at preteens, basically, they don't know the difference. I mean, most of the differences preteens don't get and
Yeah.
don't care, and that's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
More power to them. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good show. I don't care what Liz says.
Well, it's not that I didn't like it. Yeah. I mean, but if I had my choice, I'd
There's
usually watch something else.
yeah, there was actually a documentary based on this show because I just found out. It's funny y'all mention this because I found out about this a few days ago. It came out a few years ago. It was called "You Can't Do That on Film." And it was a documentary about the show.
Cool.
And the popularity of the show. So.
Well, I know there was a big push and people didn't like it because the parents, which they were. I mean, they were the perfect example of bad parents. You know? But the way the kids talked to him, I know my parents were like, "That's not funny." No, but it kind of is because their parents are losers, and that's not
right.
funny.
Well, it's intended to be. That was the whole point, right?
Yeah.
That the
Who
parent
could be offended?
they were playing.
Right.
The only two grown-ups on the show were playing total buffoons the whole time.
Yeah.
Of course, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
The younger the kids, the younger the people on that show were, the smarter they were in the scripts. I mean, that's cool, you know. I mean, there's an inclusiveness there that you didn't really see that much in the 80s.
The way we felt about the people around us.
Right.
They don't know anything.
Don't underestimate anybody. That's the lesson here.
Yeah.
Because you don't know them.
Yep.
But anyway, there's your tangent.
Oh, but one thing I did want to derail us with, speaking of our Discord.
Just one more thing.
Just one more thing. We did do a trivia contest over there for the 13th. It wasn't Friday the 13th, but it was Friday the 13th trivia. Big Dog won that, so congratulations. Actually, he got all of them right, so Woohoo!
Very cool.
Dang.
Yep. So I will be sending that out to him, and should be by the end of the week. He'll have free steak.
If I'd known that was the prize, I would have tried harder. Jeez.
Right.
Or, like, tried at all.
Or try.
Yeah.
I would have made up answers.
Right.
I'd have gotten on the damn Google machine. That's what I would have done. I would have cheated. No.
Well, that's what Troy had said. I don't know any of this, I said, well, I didn't say you had to answer it right. I'm just looking for answers. So we'll be doing that again for Halloween, right? And
That's the plan.
yep. And that one will actually be a $25 Amazon card. So.
Awesome.
So if that's not enough incentive to join our Discord, how's that for a segue?
Oh, yeah.
You should anyway. We've had it going for several months now. We post a lot of news items there, but we post some fun stuff, memes, some great discussion. We got some other things planned coming down the pike. Since we cannot do our physical meet in Gabs anymore due to the pandemic, we are doing virtual ones. Just join our voice channel. We're actually, by the time this drops, we would have our Halloween one. But we'll obviously have one. We try to do one every month. But it's also open if anybody's interested in just wanting to jump in and say, hey, I want to just kind of chit chat for a little bit. It's open for that. So, now, how do you join our in Discord? Well, if you go to the website, our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, right there on the home page is a big-ass image that says join our Discord. Just click on that. You'll get the invite. I need to promote it a little bit more on our social media. I'm kind of falling down on that, but that's all it is. Just click on that, and you're in, as long as you have a Discord account. If you don't, then you can sign up. It's free.
Right. It's pretty easy, really.
It is.
It is.
And like I said, we've been having a lot of fun with it.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. We are on our final episode of Horror Month 2020.
Oh, man. What? Nobody else is sad that this is the last? Come on now, people. Sheesh.
I'm glad Liz said it.
Well, for me, it's always Halloween,
Oh, yes.
I hope y'all enjoyed our look back at several films that have starred Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. And hopefully you'll enjoy our episode today as well. So for our final two films, we are looking at 1971's I, Monster and 1973 Nothing But the Night. And this should be an interesting discussion.
It should. And just by way of, I guess you could say disclaimer, neither of these are Hammer films.
That's true. These are the first two non-Hammer films that we've discussed. Yeah.
Right. Sort of.
Well, so don't blame them.
Right. Don't blame Hammer. Don't blame them for the Horror Express either. But
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That was not a Hammer film as well. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, let's discuss I, Monster first.
I couldn't finish watching this one, guys. I tried. I literally screamed to the point where Phil came in here and he was like, "What's wrong with you?" I guess when he grabbed the cat and you shot the cat up, that was the first scream, and then it was like, no, I hope he tears his face off. And then Then he grabs the poker, and it was like, done. Not once, but twice he smacked that cat. So
Yeah, scene not approved by SPCA.
no.
I mean,
Yeah,
not that you saw
it was-
anything, but
Right. I think there's
It
a
was
real
pretty-
good
it
chance
was
that
pretty
no
wild.
animals were harmed in the making of this movie, but
Yeah, but it had sound effects, and it was like, oh, my
it
God.
was-
Because, yeah, the whole time you're going, no, 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 no. And I knew I couldn't finish it at that point because no matter what happened to him, I'd be like, you deserve that. I hope you die.
I mean, the word monster
Big
is
lover
in
of
the
the-
title of the movie. Let's
Yeah.
Right.
be realistic here.
Yeah,
That was a setting up scene for sure.
yeah.
And,
See,
and,
I'm fine. You can slash them, dash them, throw them in the chipper, but leave the dogs and cats alone.
you know,
I draw a line.
it's so funny that you say that, but when the Chiller Network was up and going, which of course it's a dead, and they showed nothing but horror films. It was so funny because I would watch those and it didn't affect me at all, but every commercial break had a commercial for SPCA, and that hurt me more than any of the damn films they showed.
Right?
there's some pretty brutal images in those commercials, man. Let's be realistic.
That's true.
It is.
Well, and plus the fact it's real. So.
And
Right.
I'm Sarah McLaughlin. I'm going to ruin your day today. In the arms.
Send us money. Send us money and we'll stop making you cry. I think that's called bullying where I come from. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's emotional porn, you know.
Mm,
They know what to do to pull your heartstrings.
I think another term is blackmail, but whatever.
Yeah. Same thing.
So, I Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think about this?
Do you want us to tell you about the rest of it, or
We could
Sure.
fill you in, yeah.
Was there more cats?
I don't think there was any more cats in that movie, was there?
no?
Not that I recall.
Couple 3 people, but no cats. There was a hooker, or well, they did not expressly claim that she was a hooker. I don't remember them actually really talking to her at all in the first place, but she was pretty disposable anyway. But yeah,
So I took it this was going to be like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing.
absolutely yes.
Okay.
It is pretty much a straight adaptation of Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. It's just a lot cuter when Looney Tunes does it with Mortimer.
Well, yeah. I mean, everything's cuter when Looney Tunes does it, but
and Barney Rubble? What an actor!
how he keeps getting passed over for the Oscars, I will never know.
Discrimination.
Absolutely.
When I saw this one, painfully,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed early in the movie where one of the associates, when the doctors were all seated in their little hideaway, walked off camera. He made a statement and he walked off camera, and I thought, is he going to do a Chuck Cunningham? Luckily he came back, but I thought for sure he was going to go upstairs and never be seen again. I was not impressed with this version. In fact, I watched a Hammer movie called The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll. And this had Christopher Lee in it. He did not play Jekyll. He played a friend of the doctor. In I, Monster, I was disappointed because there was no really a real transformation scene in the whole thing. they did the fade out at the end for a transformation, and I thought, well, this bit the big one, because I'm one of those. I loved seeing Frederick March, Spencer Tracy, even the previous Two Faces, previously stated Two Faces, because in the Two Faces, the doctor went from a bearded soul to a clean shaven, which is just the opposite of everything I'd seen prior. I even watched the 1916, I think, version of Jekyll and Hyde. It was about a half-hour program.
The Lon Chaney?
No.
Oh,
it was.
There was one before that. That's right.
Yeah, and I watched that because it had more substance than this one did. I'm sorry to say that this one just didn't do it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it that much. I mean, was it a wonderful delight of a movie? No, it certainly wasn't. If nothing else, it has not aged well, which is weird. Maybe. Well, okay. The film quality itself has not aged well.
True.
Because I know for a fact that Les and I watched it on different platforms, and I checked the one he watched, and it was not significantly better than the one I watched. So there you go. Which honestly makes it harder to watch because, I mean, honestly, the picture's just not very clear a lot of the time, which is weird because the movie's in color. I mean, it's very, very washed out and faded color at this point, but it was in color at the time. So the film quality itself makes it, I think, harder to watch even than it is naturally, which is, yeah. I mean, it's a fairly faithful adaptation of the Stevenson story, but it's not a particularly lively one. And yeah, it's certainly not overly fettered by special effects. I mean, he basically changes his cloak and puts on a hat and grabs a cane and hunches over a little bit and makes a face, and that's the transformation. Which, I mean, being the actor that he is, Lee transformed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't a particularly interesting transformation to watch, for sure. And the thing at the end, yeah, that was not good. And it was the closest thing to special effects you got, which was a little bit sad. But yeah, so this is not the worst movie we've watched so far for this, in my opinion. But it's not a great movie. Yeah, we may get to a worse one before we're done here tonight. Yeah. But yeah, it's not. It wasn't great, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was as terrible as all that. But
I think I liked the 1973 movie we watched better than this one so far.
Oh, we'll disabuse you of that belief real quick. Don't worry.
About to have some fun, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was hard. This was hard to watch, and not just because of that scene with the cat. It just the quality of the film was just horrible.
It honestly, the picture quality might have been worse than Horror Express.
Yeah.
Yeah. For what I watched of it, it was, like that. And I noticed it when it was dark, it was extremely dark. So it was kind of hard to make out what was going on.
I lost track of the number of times I've tried to clean my glasses when I'm watching the movie. It just kept not getting any better either. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of this film either. I've not read the original story, so yeah, you said it was rather faithful to the the story, and that's good to hear, because and a lot of times there's always some kind of change.
Well, I mean, they changed all the names.
Yeah, they did,
one,
and
which
I don't get that,
including the
but
title, which I thought was a
right.
little weird. I don't know why they
Yeah.
bothered to do that, but whatever.
It was to protect the innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were probably afraid for some reason they were going to get sued. They thought maybe somebody else owned the rights or something, but I don't know.
That could be it. But I mean, if it's the same story, you would think that would still be opened.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a perfect example is something that I posted to Discord today. And how about this for off topic? Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah. Yes.
They sort of, kind of tried to file the serial numbers off of it, but yeah.
Yep. So, anyway, yeah, I didn't really enjoy this film. It just,
Yeah.
wanted
There was worse
to.
stuff to watch.
I did want to watch this one, but
yeah.
it just drove me away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good story. I've seen the Spencer Tracy version. It's been forever since I've seen it. I've always wanted to watch the Anthony Perkins version, Edge of Sanity, but I hadn't seen that one either. But it's always a really interesting story, but They just didn't
really tell it all that well here.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been complaining about this the whole time, but the pacing in this movie was just off.
It was.
Somehow.
It was. Yeah.
There was just these dead spots, and then there were times when they were trying to evoke some sort of emotion, and it just wasn't working. I mean,
She killed a cat.
Well, even after that,
Wow.
not surprisingly. Yeah, I mean, every time he came off of the drug, it seemed like he was tortured by what was going on, but it certainly didn't stop him. I mean, I think part of this is maybe this is part of the translation into the late 60s, early 70s, but maybe this was intended to be an anti-drug statement.
Or reefer madness.
It was, yeah, and it was a really damn weird way to tell that story, let me tell you.
Right.
I don't remember, I mean, it's been a long time since I read the story, but I don't remember that really being a theme. I don't remember it being a drug, or at least it wasn't as big a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, feel free to correct me, anybody who's listening, but I don't remember it being so obviously an anti-drugs thing. Especially given that yes, it came out in 71, but it was set at the turn of the century.
Yeah.
So, I mean, drugs were not a big deal back then at all, so it really didn't matter. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
And poor Peter Cushing, it's just like most of his career is running around trying to fix all the stuff that Christopher Lee keeps breaking. I mean, dang, poor guy.
I do like him a lot more after watching all the movies we have.
Which one?
Peter Cushing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've always liked Peter Cushing. I've always enjoyed his films, or enjoyed his performances. May not enjoy other films, but I enjoy his performances.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've seen, I mean, in the 9 movies we've watched of his, we've seen quite an array of characters.
Yeah.
So he's actually gotten to do some acting across the stuff, and so yeah,
Yes.
it's been cool to see that. It's been cool to see him play different personalities.
Yep.
And one thing that was consistent is he was a very sharp dresser. I mean, I don't know if that was just the style for the period they were going for, but sorry, it's a girl thing.
No.
I mean,
Not at all.
he has a purple blazer that he wears through quite a few of them. That's like, that's your color, dude. Very distinguished looking in it.
Well, and he kept wearing it, so somebody must have known it,
Yeah.
Well, every girl is crazy about a sharp-dressed man.
True. Or it was one of the only props they had, so they had to keep reusing.
Right, he kept showing up to the set in it, and so they just sort of quit trying to take it off of him after a while or something. I don't know. Funny how that joke, we're talking about Peter Cushing, goes down way differently than the one about Telly Savalas. And of course, it's a way different jacket, but anyway.
Okay, so do we want to go ahead and move on to Nothing But the Night? Because I don't think there's much more we can discuss.
Yeah.
This one didn't seem to have much of an impact on any of us really. So yeah, there wasn't a lot to love about this one. I mean, almost everything that we've said nice about it has been an excuse of some sort. So
Right.
But he looked good.
When you could see him, when you could make him out through the weird lens, I don't know. I hope that was a film degradation thing, but damn, they need to take better care of their film.
Yeah.
Oof. I've seen much
It's
older
sad.
movies that look way better than that.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's a 5th or 6th generation dubbing from a VHS tape.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of our classics weren't made to be preserved. A lot of times they were shot and reshot over, and they contained so much acid that it ate it up before you could even replay it again. They weren't made to.
Well, there's a lot of weird and unstable chemicals that went into making film in the first place. So yeah. I mean, they honestly would just dissolve while you're watching them sometimes.
Yep, just from the heat.
So this one was clearly not well preserved. So there you go.
Yeah.
It's a shame, really. Well, I mean, I don't know, and nobody really seems to like the movie, but
but
it's a shame that they couldn't have taken better care of their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't like the film, but I mean, there was a lot of people that put a lot of hard effort into this film, so it needs to be preserved somehow.
Yeah. It was a rung on their ladder up.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, Nothing But the Night. Who wants to explain this story?
First thing, I was watching the intro of this movie, and I'm like, wow, that sounds kind of familiar. So the movie goes on, and I keep hearing this little tune over and over and over again, and I'm like, wow, that sounds really familiar. Then it dawns on me when my grandbaby is watching Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It was like, that's the fucking little tune that was all through the damn movie. They played it all different versions. It was jazzy, it was sped up, it was slowed down, but yeah. That's pretty much the earworm in the movie.
Yeah, this one they really couldn't afford a music score for, apparently.
Yeah. So it was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Although I will say I had that little girl pegged when she was standing up on the bus, jumping around, getting everybody screaming and everything else. It was like, that little girl's trouble. I bet she's killing everybody. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, that wasn't subtle, really. Well, that she was trouble wasn't subtle at all.
Yeah.
That she was actually killing people. Spoiler, by the way, but nobody should ever watch this movie anyway. But yeah, they were doing.
We watched it so you don't have to.
Yeah, and believe me, you don't want.
You're welcome.
Yeah. It was. Oh, wow. Okay. So the little girl gets into a bus accident. And her mom comes to get her from the hospital, which I guess they kept trying to play up that she was a witch, but we never saw any witch powers or anything like that from her.
Well, she was in prison for, what was it, murder? So that's why they were
Yeah.
separated.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah.
apparently she did tarot readings or something. It wasn't. So I think I think it was made out to be a bigger deal than it really was, the whole witch thing. But yeah,
So you would think that's why she wanted the kid back.
right. And the
So
whole
when it came down to the end, why did she want the kid back then?
there are a lot of things about the end that we're not going to be able to explain
Yeah.
because
Maybe that's why they just turned her
because that didn't fucking make sense.
at all. At all.
They spent how long was this thing? How long was this
90
abomination?
minutes.
90 minutes. They spent 85 minutes of this movie lying to us about what this movie was about.
They did.
That was the problem. That was my problem with it. Was that
And searching for a lady in a not really packed desert in a bright red jacket. You can't find a lady in a bright red jacket in the middle of nowhere? I mean, come on, guys. That's like, she even had red hair.
right?
You
She
can
stood
spot her.
out.
There
She
she is.
stood out like a sore thumb. She's
Yeah.
literally walking through a forest
Yeah,
in a red jacket, and
in a red
and
jacket.
they had no idea where she is. It's not. I mean, it was an island, for crying out loud, and it wasn't a big island.
Mm-mm.
Right.
And she completely evaded detection, including stealing food for 2-3 days.
And dynamite?
Yeah, broke into
So,
a construction site to steal. Well, and you say that. I mean, I'm still not
that's
100%
what
sure
I'm
that was
wondering.
her.
I don't know. Yeah. Because
I-
I think didn't it wind up that the little girl blew up the boat
Yeah, her
with the
or one of
old
her.
bodies that were put into children?
Yeah, they transferred their souls into children, and yeah, oh my God, this movie just.
It gets better and better.
It was.
A mind fuck?
It was a total mind fuck, and it wasn't even a good one.
No.
I mean, it was actually a perfectly fine police procedural movie for, like I said, the first 85 minutes. And then all of a sudden, it's this weird supernatural bullshit story all of a sudden at the end.
Yeah.
And nobody who you thought was involved was involved.
At all.
Spend, oh my God, the mom. You're talking about Anna, the mom. She got so much screen time through this whole movie. And she wasn't part of the plot
At all.
in any way.
Mm-mm.
Other than
And most
being,
of the words she said is, I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
right. I mean, she's just hostile. They clearly
I'll
set
murder
her
you
up.
all.
Right. And it was, oh my God. And then she didn't have anything. She ended up being as innocent a victim as anybody in this thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was a mediocre movie to start with. And then they decided at the last minute to change the ending. And there's absolutely no reason why they should have done that.
No. And I like how quick everything's done. I mean, he goes and talks to a brain doctor and makes it to this place and then flies over to here to go save the guy. It's like how does a boat blow up in the middle of the ocean or water, lake, whatever it was in? You recover all of the bodies, ID all of the bodies, and can tell you how they died within 8 hours?
Okay, so well, that was okay. Yeah, okay. Fair, within 8 hours is the key there. Yeah, I mean, admittedly, the thing didn't have to burn. I mean, it was in the water after all.
Right.
So I could see the bodies being recognizable to some extent, but damn,
Yeah.
that was quick.
But he was doing pieces with tweezers in bottles and stuff. And
tweezers.
Look at this section of the brain. Well, he wasn't dead before he died. I mean, come on. They've been in the water.
Well, clearly they weren't in the water very long, so I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
They had a net under the boat.
Big ass net that they're out there with.
Shrimped them out of there.
I mean, dang.
That was supernatural.
Like I said, the cop story here was awesome.
Right.
I'm not going to say it was realistic, but it was awesome.
And I think that the doctor who died should have told Cushing's character a lot more than what he told him about the little girl. And I'm always amazed at the people who meet one time and hook up and, oh, I loved him. He was the love of my life. You
Yeah.
slept
here's
with
another
him
one
to
of
get a
those.
tape.
Right, you've literally known him 36 hours, despite the fact that you boinked him.
Yeah,
You've still only known him for a day and a half.
and got him killed.
Right, I don't think you even have the right to show up to the damn funeral. I mean, come on.
Right.
Yeah, I think I said something to Mikey about that when I was watching. I messaged him. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know, they were at odds with each other because she's wanting to try to get the story and all that, and he's trying to protect the girl, and then
And then
Yeah.
they're in bed, and then
they're in bed.
and then they're in bed, and then he's dead, and she's mourning him. And I'm like, wait, what?
Right.
Yeah.
You literally haven't known him long enough to mourn him.
He got killed with a sticker star.
Right. He was killed because he got hit in the brain by something that literally could not have punctured his skull. But anyway, again with the police movie thing.
And perfect. Did you notice there was not a drop of blood on that glitter?
Mm.
Nothing up my sleeve.
Well, you wouldn't have known it was glitter if there'd been blood all over it. Hell. Everybody knows that. Yeah.
Why would anyone admit knowing that?
Now, why would anyone admit watching this movie? That's what I want to know. Holy cow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
This might have been worse than Horror Express.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for the two of you explaining this movie to me, because
Wasn't necessarily obvious, was it?
this was god awful.
It was.
I just didn't know where it was going. Like you said, they plodded along, and then all of a sudden they explain that it's a coven. You're going, okay, but then it was a coven from space. Really?
Right. This is all in the last 5 minutes again, by the way.
Yeah.
That we learned this.
See, I think they made a different movie with a different ending in mind, and then they're like, oh shit, Christopher Lee's in here. Change the ending.
Right. How are we going to
Make
get?
it the kids.
How are we going to get Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing's fans to come watch this movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, we got to make it supernatural. Well, we just spent all this time shooting a cop movie. How are we going to do that? Oh, fuck it. We'll think of something over the weekend. Yeah, they did. All right.
We can't figure out what to do with the mom. We'll just burn her.
Right. We'll just throw her in the fire at the end.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Don't give her a chance to tell her story. Nothing. Just burn her.
Mm-hmm.
Problem solved. Next.
Oh, yeah. They've been hunting her down to talk to her all this time. Oh, yeah, no. We're just going to throw her ass in the fire, and she's not going to say a word.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
We won't ever mention her again.
I guess that's one way to wrap up a plot point. Jeez.
You mean a plot
Thomas.
hole?
Yeah, well, there's that.
Thomas, do you remember the movie that I've asked about several times from you? That the Oriental movie, the Asian movie, about the crocodiles?
Oh, the crocodile people. Was that it?
No, it was the with the secret agents and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I think it's called the crocodile people, because you got the story about the whole thing with the crocodile people, and it's interspersed with this other film about a secret agent in Europe battling like hopping vampires.
Yes,
Zombies. Yeah, I think it was crocodile people.
that's what I was feeling with this movie. It was
that one actually made sense compared to this.
It did. In comparison, it was Oscar worthy. This one was just horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that there was even a script an entire script at any given time for this movie.
Well, there was 3 of them, and they just shuffled it like cards, and it was like, bam,
Yeah, well,
film it.
because you got the story of, okay, somehow all the board trustees are being murdered. Then you have the whole thing with the kid. She's got some secret but we gotta try to figure out what it is and gotta try to get her to talk. Then there's the whole thing with her mother.
And then there's the travelogue with the mom, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you're just in.
And then you throw in the romance, the action.
Action?
What do we leave out?
I don't remember action.
I remember 3 or 4 cops
Action
running around
was
quite a bit, but I don't remember.
Wow, chicken, wow.
Oh, that kind of action, right? Okay, sorry, misconstrued your context there. Yeah, that kind of action.
They had the whole shebang.
Shebang.
She did bang.
She did, and she got that tape. You go, girl.
And I pointed out to Mike, and I'll point it out as a trivia to everybody who's listening, the actress that played that character, Georgia Brown, best known as Worf's foster mother on Star Trek Next Generation.
Ah.
Yeah, like 20 years later.
Yeah, about 15 years later. Yeah, around there.
That's pretty cool.
Well, it's funny because I was like, I looked at her and I was like, she looks familiar. I've seen her before, but I can't place it. So I did a little research. Like, oh, okay.
Well,
Sure,
you
reminded me of Rhoda.
Well, I think that was an outfit thing as much as anything else. I think that was the time. That was the 70s.
Yeah.
But yeah, you and another one of those deals. The lady who played the mom, Diana Dors.
Yeah.
20 years before this movie, she was a really popular starlet in Britain.
Yes.
I mean, she was
Wasn't she like their Marilyn?
Yeah, she was actually billed as the British Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Mm.
And she was also married to Richard Dawson at one time.
She was her second husband was Richard Dawson.
Wow.
Yeah. I see that now. Nice.
Yeah, because they had one picture of her for a cast picture, and it was like, looks like they used Marilyn's picture. With blonde hair, she really looks like her.
Yeah.
Oh, I can definitely see it. Yeah, I'm looking at images of her right now. I can. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. This is another skip it. This would be a good movie if it played on something like Elvira or Seven Ghoulie, where they just totally ripped the whole movie apart.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
There you go.
This would be hard to
hard.
do that with, though. That's the thing.
It's very dry. Very, very dry, yeah.
And it's not like, I mean, you talk about them taking 3 stories and shuffling them together like a deck of cards. It's not really that clear when you're watching it that that's what they're doing.
No.
I mean, they are, clearly. You look at it at the end and you're like, oh shit, this is all just random chaos.
Yeah.
But you
There's
almost,
no one. Yeah.
you can almost follow a semblance of a story for a while. And I mean, eventually it sort of stops making sense, like how much screen time they're giving the mom. I mean, that's just ridiculous at a point.
I think once they went to the island, it's a whole different story from that point on.
It is, and it's still not the right one.
Mm-mm. They never explain a lot of the reasons why they were there to begin with. Well, I guess they kind of do, and they burn the mom. But
all those people at the school absolutely refuse to explain anything to anybody.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
that was another.
yeah, how fishy is that?
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't help the story move along.
Mm-mm.
Because they keep asking them and asking them and asking them and not getting an answer. And you're like, stop asking them. You're wasting
Well, they wanted
screen
that point
time now.
clear. They never wanted to work with them to begin with, but they were fascinated with that little girl. Even when the other little boy died, which I guess was an afterthought, why'd she kill him again?
She may have popped off with a snide comment about it in the last few minutes.
Yeah, but they never said anything other than showing you a little boy who'd been stabbed 32 times.
Right. Yeah, and we're not talking about this kid tripped and busted his head. Oh no,
Yeah.
it was viciously murdered.
And after that point, should they have had even a choice if the cops would have been there or not? We told you to take care of it. You did it. A kid died.
We're shutting this thing down, right?
Yeah,
we're
we're coming in
by order of the Queen.
Yeah,
We are shutting this fucker down. We're calling the military in now. Come on now. This is
No, it was kind of like, okay.
Oh well, yeah, no,
well,
we're
you
still
let them
fine.
have their little party with fireworks and fire, but don't draw attention to yourself.
All right. Also, don't pay attention to the fact that 6 other people that we haven't found remains for yet died at the last one of these shindigs.
Right.
That didn't come up in the main part
At
of the
all.
movie either, right?
Yeah.
Oh God.
It was just kind of that's so horrible. Yeah, okay.
Right.
So your founders have died. Somebody's trying to kill a kid. Someone did kill a kid. And you guys are still like, oh, we're fine.
Oh, yeah. we'll be okay.
The house is on fire, lady.
There's nothing to see here. Move along.
Right. You got that little cartoon dog sitting there in the middle of the fire going, it's fine. It's okay.
Okay.
It's good.
Go back to what he's doing.
Oh my God.
I'm sure it's nothing.
So bad.
Oh man. Yeah.
Was there anything good from this movie? Did you feel like there was something that was worth watching it?
I'm digging. I mean, it was easier to watch than I Monster.
Was it?
For me, Although I kept telling myself, if they touch that dog, I'm gone.
That's just because you watched I Monster first.
Yeah.
Or tried. I mean, I would love to say that the performances, that the acting made this movie worth watching, but honestly,
no.
Both Cushing and Lee were both completely wasted on this film.
Yeah.
Completely. I mean, the characters they had were, Lee's character was completely ineffectual.
He was.
Completely. I mean, he was, I wish I could say something nice about him, but he was just he was a waste of screen for the most part, and Cushing's really wasn't that much better.
Yeah.
I think they tried to push him in, like, maybe after. Because even if you think about when he came in and said something, it was only a couple words and I'm out of here, I ain't going to be with the scavengers. And, he just, it's like he never stuck around for long.
Right. It's like this wasn't their movie.
Yeah.
It's like they brought them in. It's like, oh, this is going to be like an also starring thing, and they'll just make a few appearances in this movie. And then before you know it, they're like the central characters, and they don't seem to know what to do with it any more than the writers did, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is,
I think Cushing was my favorite character out of all this, though. He at least had a part in solving things.
Even if it was just his part was not believing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, for the scientist, he sure doesn't seem to want to believe anything. Like, even the evidence in front of him and shit like that.
But wouldn't it be kind of hard if someone said, hey, there's these little kids out on an island who are taking the souls of adults. Let's go, man.
Well, it's definitely hard to prove that without showing up to the bonfire and all, but
right, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, what? Cold hard facts, sure, but now you're dealing with a little bit of a supernatural element. Most people don't believe in the supernatural.
Right.
If I can't see it, I can't believe it. So.
Right.
So when you ask someone to believe that, it does take a little bit to get them on board,
What it should do is it should make them okay, we're looking at this evidence. This evidence looks really fucking weird. How are we going to make sense out of this? And you go about it in an investigative manner instead of just sort of going, nah, that ain't it.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep. And there's just this little kid who's out here just being weird and allegedly being in danger, even though nobody else seems to believe it.
Yeah.
You gotta follow the damn evidence, and they didn't. And
No.
I don't know. Like I said, it was a cop movie, and it wasn't a good cop movie. And then it wasn't until it wasn't a cop movie anymore. And,
it wasn't a good horror movie either.
And yeah, there's just I wish the characters had been
horror of the 2 hours I lost.
likable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if they'd been likable, it would have been worthwhile. But there wasn't enough of those two in it for them to be likable, and nobody else was. I mean, the reporter sort of was, but she was weird too.
She was seedy.
She was, well, yeah, they definitely played that up, which made her not unlikable, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't even like the little girl.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's something to be said for it maybe being realistic because people are assholes, but okay, that doesn't make for a particularly good plot point in your movie. You still got to have something that the audience can relate to, and it didn't.
Mm-mm. I related to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Right. And even that you couldn't place because it was so out of place in this movie.
Yeah. Or no, it wasn't Twinkle Twinkle. It was Itsy Bitsy Spider. That's what it was. Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It doesn't at all, right? But so does that answer your question, Les?
Not really a whole lot to redeem it.
Yeah, that's kind of my whole issue with it was
They underutilized their stars and
they couldn't pull a story together
mm-mm.
in any way.
I agree.
Well, any final thoughts about these two films?
I think the less thought, the better for these two films.
I'm done thinking about them.
Yeah, I don't ever want to think about these two films again.
Right. Now I can say I've seen them, kind of, and I'm good.
Well, and it also gives us kind of the counterbalance to the really cool movies we got to see up front.
Yeah.
Not every movie that everybody makes is going to be awesome, and so,
Right.
I mean, that they managed to put together at least some semi-decent roles, or at least some semi-decent work in these terrible roles. I mean,
Yeah.
you keep the best you can with what you have. So.
Like I said, it's definitely a rung on their ladder. They had to do some of this stuff to continue forward.
Yeah.
And we both know they did some great stuff after, so
Mm-hmm.
or at least Lee. So.
Well,
Lee was a wizard.
He's a wizard and a Sith.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Busy man. He was.
I just want to say to the listening public, you're welcome. You didn't have to live through these. And as one that loves bad movies, do not waste your time.
Yeah, there's bad movies and then there's bad movies. These kind of fall into the bad movies category. I mean, what blows my mind is that there are people out there who make podcasts and they watch movies like that every week. And I'm like, why?
Sounds like it's right up Les's alley.
That's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
oh man, I couldn't do it.
Mm-mm.
It's amazing to me. I mean, I can do it every so often like this, but man, not every week. Jesus.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, anyway. Props to
As
them
long
for
as
doing
it's
it.
peppered with good stuff, you know.
Right.
I did see a few movies this month that I probably wouldn't have seen otherwise. I thought I had seen them, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean some of them we just kind of culturally speaking have heard so much about them that it almost feels like we've seen them when we haven't.
Yeah.
So that happens. Or we've seen one or two other versions of them and just not that one or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It has been fun taking a look at their movies though.
Yeah.
This week notwithstanding.
Although, maybe this should be after show. That last movie had an alien tie? Is that what you said?
Alien.
That's how I interpret it.
Oh.
Okay.
It was an alien force that was directing the whole group.
Okay. I totally missed that.
That's what I recall. But
Yeah, see, they weren't. I think the deal is they weren't real clear about it.
Yeah.
The impression I got about it was more supernatural than alien. But you know, I mean, given how little they told us, it could have gone either way.
Yeah. But if you guys wanted to watch this one, the last 10 minutes of the movie is probably the best part. The most confusing, but
Hey, you're not
save
going
you
to
some
learn
time
anything
there.
watching the first 80. That's for damn
Mm-mm.
sure. So you might as well just fast forward to the 80-minute mark and go.
Yep.
You'll get the whole story, what there is anyway.
And on that note, we conclude Horror Month 2020 and take a break. We'll be back with our weekly picks. And we're back. It's time for our weekly picks, and leading off this week is Liz.
All right. For my first pick, I've kind of already talked about it before. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. This, from what I understand, well, for one thing, it's the biggest event for them for 2020. It puts Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird back together making turtle stories. I don't believe this is going to be canon. It is not following along with any of their other stories. I think they're wanting to shock and surprise everybody with it. But from what we know so far, there's one turtle left. And this one turtle has watched the other three die. And I'm taking it at the time there was nothing he could do about it. So the last Ronin is kind of his revenge. He's got all of his brother's weapons, which is another way they've hid who this is. I'm really hoping it's Mikey. Let us see him in a different, more grown-up role, finally doing what his brothers wanted him to. So, I don't know. We'll see. And this week, we'll find out. Who is it? I want to know.
Yeah, I've read some things about it, and it's being kind of compared to like Old Man Logan and some of the other similar stories. So yeah, it should be interesting.
It should.
Hey, that means it's being compared to good stories. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, it puts the two creators back together, you know?
Yep.
So it should be amazing.
Alrighty, Mike.
Okie dokie. So my first pick is from Dark Horse Comics. And this is the first issue of Colonel Weird, Cosmagog. If you are familiar with the Black Hammer universe, and Lord knows I've talked about it enough on this show, they're going back to it, and this time we're going with Colonel Weird, who is the guy who kind of fades in and out of reality, and doesn't necessarily seem to have all his marbles most of the time. So I am very curious to see how they're going to tell an actual straightforward story with that, because he would be a tough one to tell a straightforward story with anyway. So yeah, this Black Hammer stuff is just awesome, and I am excited about the next installment here.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Good choice.
Okay, I am next, and for my first pick, it's a new series from Source Point Press, Thompson Hiller, Detective Interstellar. And this is the story of, obviously, a private detective who is obviously in space. And in this particular story, he's going to another planet to help an old friend who's accused of murder. The guy says he's innocent, but the evidence shows that he's guilty. So he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And then of course there's a lot of shit going on at the same time. Really kind of interesting premise from what I read in the synopsis. I want to read it. Sounds pretty cool.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Yep, there have been a handful of really interesting kind of space cop stories. It's a subgenre that I think should be tapped a little more, because I think there's some interesting potential there.
Yeah. Alrighty, Les, you're next.
Okay, my first choice comes from Source Point Press also. It's called Cold Dead Hands, #1. This is by Garrett Gunn and illustrated by Lee Milewski. I'm going to read the synopsis of this because I can't give you much any more than this. Aspiring mercenary Kit Kelso comes wrist to wrist with the deadliest hands in history. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
It intrigues me because I don't know who the deadliest hands are. I want to see if this is a chop socky or is this a detective or what. So I wanted to find out exactly what they're handling.
It could be all of the above.
This is true.
It does sound interesting.
It does.
Yeah, totally.
Alrighty, Liz, you're up again.
All right. For my last pick, I'm going with heavy metal. Of course, heavy metal always gives you a few stories inside. This one, they're giving us at least 6. They're going to kick it off with George C. Romero's The Rise. It's a prequel to the film Night of the Living Dead. So that should be pretty interesting. That's also a show we've talked about on the show. So I'm curious to see what he has to say, and some of the other ones look pretty amazing as well. So if you see this one, pick it up. If not, ask for it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Alrighty, Mikey.
Okie dokie. My second pick is from Mad Cave Studios. And this is a collection of a series called Savage Bastards, which is ordinarily a little out of my wheelhouse, but that's all right. I think there's enough fun in this anyway. This is set in the 1860s, so it's a Western, which is, like I said, not the way I usually go. But this story follows a pair of half brothers who are essentially being hunted down, or maybe the hunting down is a little bit mutual, with their father, who is apparently nuts and has a bunch of other crazy bastard children helping him. So this sounds just crazy enough to be fun.
Yeah.
I am definitely curious.
That does sound interesting.
Good
Yeah,
choice.
I did see that. Yeah, that kind of piqued my interest, definitely. Okay, I am next, And for my second choice, excuse me, if you're a longtime listener to the show, you're probably aware of my love of Marvel Comics Epic Collections. These are about 20 plus issues put together in one collection. And this one is called Fantastic Four at War Atlantis. And I selected this for a couple of reasons. Because first of all, it's Fantastic Four. It's classic Fantastic Four. This is issues 88 through 104 and annual number 7. And Fantastic Four: The Lost Adventure. The other reason is this is the end of the Lee Kirby run of Fantastic Four. So I'm kind of nostalgic because I did just be able to read these final stories that the two of them were together on. And of course, all the classic foes are there: Mole Man, Doctor Doom. Obviously, if Atlantis is mentioned, Submariner's going to be there. So, yeah. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Did this include Atuma?
I'm sure Atuma's in there, yeah.
Okay.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor.
That's the reason why he asked. He has to set that up for you.
No. He did not. Because I remember the summer that everything was tied to the war in Atlantis, and that was Atuma as the villain.
Cool.
Alrighty. Les, I believe you are next.
Okay, my last choice comes from Albatross, and it is the work of Eric Powell in Hillbilly. And this is kind of in a look at ghost stories. There is a character who is considered hillbilly, and he is a wanderer who moves among the witches and creatures and is considered a folk hero. These collections have humor, they have some pathos, and just like Powell doing The Goon, this stuff is fun to read. It's a quick read, and it's something that you want to see more of. So I'm going to say step up for this one and just have some good fun.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Cool.
Alrighty. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week? Mikey, you want to go ahead and pub All the Horror again?
Oh, all right.
Twist his arm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's a hard sell.
You noticed that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Hard sell. So yeah, podcasts all of October. Scary stuff galore. Go check out hashtag All the Horror on Twitter, or better yet, follow at All the Horror 18 to find out all the details. Check out the website. There's links. I will definitely put links in the show notes. Hit the merch page. The proceeds for the merch goes to Scares That Care. I will probably copy and paste the links from last week because I'm lazy into the show notes. But yeah, lots of fun stuff going on there. Lots of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other special shout-outs?
No, not me.
No, not that I can think of.
Nothing here.
Okay. Go ahead and go on to our regular shout-outs. Excuse me. I'd like to thank Pop Ghost Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of other shows. Definitely check them out. We'll have a link in our show notes. While you're on Twitter doing a search for all the horror, why don't you do a hashtag search for Potter and Family and check out some great shows there. We thank them for spreading the word of the fellowship. Thank you guys always. I want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. There'll be a link in the show notes. You can check out their fine music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We appreciate your support and always value your feedback. Any questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, observations, what have you, please send them our way. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website and go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form that you can fill out there. There's obviously, as I mentioned earlier, links, invites to our Discord. It's on the main page, but there's also a link on our social media icons. So either one will get you there. And obviously, we're on social media. We're on Facebook, the Fellowship of the Geeks. And obviously, we're on Twitter, @Fellowship Geeks. Feel free to follow us. And if you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, we invite you to do so. Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found LN_geek. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you would please take a couple moments to rate and review our show, it would be greatly appreciated. All right. Anything else before we say goodbye and officially wrap up Horror Month 2020?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
I hope you enjoyed listening to the October cast as we did. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here. Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate your support as always. Until next time, keep on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook @The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter @Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,